They wanted you to react, because reaction means control. But the moment you stop matching their energy, the entire room starts matching yours. Every human instinct tells you to mirror the energy you're given, to meet fire with fire, calm with calm, kindness with kindness. It feels fair, it feels balanced, it feels like the right thing to do. But the truth is, mirroring energy is not strength, it is submission in disguise. The one who sets the emotional tone controls the field. The moment you match someone's energy, you've admitted that they are leading and you are following. You've given them the power to decide who you are in that moment. If they want to see you angry, they win by pulling you there. If they want to see you defensive, they win by pushing that button. They decide your mood, and you call it reaction. But reaction is the language of the powerless. Think about how easily people can shift your emotions without even touching you. A small insult, a sharp tone, a dismissive glance. It happens in seconds. They rise, and you rise with them. They sneer, and you sneer back. You think you're matching their energy to prove you won't be walked on, but what you've really proven is that they can move you. When you can be moved at will, you're not strong, you're controlled. The strong are not those who shout the loudest. They are the ones who remain still while others burn out their energy, trying to provoke them. Emotional mirroring is the oldest social trap. It makes you believe you re-standing your ground when you re-actually standing in their shadow. You think you're fighting for respect, but you're really giving it away by playing their game. The person who controls the tone controls the frame, and the frame controls perception. If they can make you angry, you look unstable. If they can make you defensive, you look guilty. If they can make you nervous, you look uncertain. Every time you match their emotion, you lose the chance to shape how you are seen. The secret to power is not in reacting, but in redirecting. When someone tries to throw you off balance, your calmness becomes your weapon. It's not about ignoring them, it's about choosing the energy of the interaction yourself. Someone's sarcasm doesn't deserve your sarcasm. Their coldness doesn't require your coldness. You can be firm without aggression, clear without anger, composed without weakness. That is the kind of presence that makes people adjust themselves around you. When you stop matching energy, something strange happens. People start to hesitate before speaking to you. They measure their tone. They soften their words. They sense your control, even if you don't say a thing. Because calmness has gravity, it pulls others into its orbit. And that is the quiet shift where true power begins. You stop being part of their chaos and become the still point they can't shake. The world respects those who cannot be moved. So the next time someone raises their voice, don't match it. Lower yours, let them hear the control in your quiet. Because the one who stays still in the storm doesn't lose power, they become the eye of it. In every interaction, one person pulls and the other orbits. It is an invisible exchange that happens before a single word is spoken. The calm person becomes the center of gravity, the quiet force that everything else begins to circle. The one who stays grounded doesn't have to demand attention, it comes naturally. People are drawn to stability the way planets are drawn to the sun. It is not charm or luck, it is energy control. Calmness has weight and weight creates pull. Chaos, no matter how loud, moves around it. The one who is centered becomes the point others unconsciously adjust to. This law works everywhere, in business meetings, relationships, friendships, even in conflict. The one who stays still emotionally always ends up leading, because when emotions rise, the loudest person looks unstable and the still one looks powerful. People trust composure more than words. They may not understand why, but they can feel it. The body senses it first, the heartbeat slows, the voice steadies, and everyone else starts syncing with that rhythm. You do not need to push people to respect you, you only need to stop letting their chaos move you. Think of emotional gravity as silent authority. When someone comes at you with aggression, sarcasm, or neediness, they are trying to pull you into their orbit. If you rush to match their emotion, you become the smaller body circling their mood. But if you stay still, grounded, unshaken, the energy reverses. Their motion bends around you. You start dictating the pace without even trying. It is not resistance, it is quiet leadership. They speak faster, you respond slower. They get tense, you relax further. They lean forward, you lean back. Every move says the same thing without words. I decide the tempo here. This is how powerful people move through the world. They do not chase approval. They anchor themselves so deeply that others have no choice but to align. Even when someone tries to provoke them, their tone never rises, their expression never changes. That calmness is not indifference, it is dominance. The human mind associates stillness with certainty and movement with doubt. So when you remain unmoved, people assume you know something they don't. They feel smaller in your presence, not because you tried to shrink them, but because your calm reminded them of their chaos. You can feel this law when you walk into a tense room. One person's anxiety spreads fast until someone grounded enters. Suddenly, the air shifts. People breathe easier. The center has changed. That's the power of emotional gravity. It pulls everyone back to balance. The secret is to become that center on purpose. Practice silence before reaction. Breathe before speaking. Wait before answering. Every second of stillness adds weight to your presence. The world will always have noise, conflict, and emotion trying to pull you in. But remember this simple truth. The one who remains still controls the movement of everything around them. When you stop orbiting others and become your own center, life starts to revolve in your favor. Because calmness doesn't chase control. Calmness is control. Control doesn't start with words, it starts with timing. The way you move, the way you pause, the way you let silence stretch just long enough to make others wonder what you're thinking. Power isn't about speaking first or speaking most. It's about deciding when to speak at all. The person who controls tempo controls perception. Because when you slow the rhythm of an exchange, you pull the other person into your timing, and once they move to your rhythm, you own the frame. Every great communicator, every strategist, every calm leader knows this truth. The secret isn't speed, it's patience. The Machiavellian doesn't rush to answer. He lets silence work for him. He watches, listens, and waits for the other person to expose their need to fill the gap. That need reveals insecurity, and insecurity reveals weakness. Most people are addicted to immediacy. They believe fast responses show confidence, that reacting quickly proves control. But speed often comes from fear, from the quiet panic of wanting to be understood, liked, or respected. You rush to fill the silence because it makes you uncomfortable. You can't stand the unknown space between what was said and what should be said. But that space is where power lives. When you delay your reaction, you're saying, "I am not moved by your urgency. I decide when this continues." And that small pause shifts the entire dynamic. The impatient start to stumble, they overtalk, they over-explain, they reveal too much. The composed just watches, and in watching, they win. Tempo is the invisible currency of influence. It's not about domination, it's about rhythm. When you enter a conversation, the energy has a speed. Someone speaks fast, they want control. Someone interrupts, they want attention. Someone argues loudly, they want validation. But if you slow the exchange, if you stay calm, if you wait 2 seconds before answering, the rhythm breaks. Now they're reacting to your calm instead of you reacting to their chaos. The one who slows the pace takes ownership of the scene. The same rule applies to life. People who rush through decisions, who answer messages instantly, who jump at every demand, signal one thing: desperation. They tell the world that their time is not their own. But those who respond with composure, who delay without apology, project certainty. Their time feels valuable, their presence feels rare. And rarity, not abundance, creates demand. When you control your tempo, you create mystery. People lean in waiting for your move, wondering what you're thinking. That's power disguised as patience. The next time you feel pulled to answer fast, pause. Let the silence stretch. Watch how others react. Some will fidget, some will rush to fill the gap, some will reveal their nerves. You, meanwhile, will remain the calm center they cannot predict. Every pause, every measured response, every slow glance tells the same story. You are in control of the rhythm. And when you control the rhythm, you control everything else. Most people grow up believing that adaptability is a strength. They are taught that blending in, reading the room, and adjusting quickly will make them successful. They think if they can match the tone, mirror the mood, and echo the emotions of the people around them, they will be liked, trusted, and respected. For a while, it even seems to work. People smile at you. They say you're easy to talk to. They call you understanding. But what they don't say and what you eventually start to feel is that you've become invisible. You've learned how to fit in everywhere, but now you stand out nowhere. The emotional chameleon believes flexibility equals strength, but in reality it becomes weakness. You lose shape because you keep changing colors. Every time you adapt too fast, you teach people that they can define you. When someone's angry, you become cautious. When someone's confident, you become small. When someone's loud, you grow louder just to keep up. You call it harmony, but it's submission dressed as sensitivity. You're not leading the mood, you're following it. You're not shaping the room, you're being shaped by it. And that is the quiet downfall of the emotional chameleon. People don't follow those who blend in, they follow those who hold their own center. Influence comes from being the fixed point that others adjust to. Imagine walking into a room where everyone is tense, defensive, impatient. Most people would tense up too, afraid to stand out. But the person who stays calm becomes the silent leader without trying. Others begin to match their energy. The air softens, the tone slows. The entire room unconsciously orbits the person who didn't move. That's what real emotional control does. It turns you from a reflection into a force. Being adaptable is useful when it's strategic, but destructive when it's constant. If you always adjust your tone to please others, they stop respecting your own. They may enjoy your presence, but they don't feel your power. They sense that your mood depends on theirs, that your identity shifts with the situation. And people may like what's easy, but they follow what's firm. No one looks up to the mirror. They look up to the mountain that doesn't move when the wind changes. To escape the trap, you have to stop chasing approval through alignment. You have to let people feel the friction of your difference. Let your calm stay calm even when they're chaotic. Let your voice stay slow even when theirs rises. Let your values remain steady even when theirs bend. That steadiness unsettles the unstable and attracts the strong. Because people secretly crave anchors, not echoes. They don't want someone who reacts like them. They want someone who shows them a better way to be. In the end, adaptability can make you liked, but only authenticity can make you respected. You don't need to mirror anyone to belong. You only need to stand still long enough for others to recognize the strength of your shape. Power isn't found in blending, it's found in remaining yourself when everything else keeps changing. When you refuse to match someone's energy, something powerful happens. They start to overextend. They can't stand stillness because stillness exposes their own imbalance. They push harder, trying to provoke you, trying to make you react, trying to make you move first. They speak faster, laugh louder, make sharper jokes, or throw heavier compliments, hoping to get a response. But the more effort they use to move you, the smaller they begin to look. Because nothing reveals insecurity more than performing for someone who doesn't flinch. You can see this dynamic everywhere. In arguments, one person stays calm while the other grows louder and more desperate to be heard. In relationships, one partner withdraws with composure while the other spirals, trying to force emotion out of silence. In the workplace, one person keeps their tone level while the other over-explains to sound in control. It's the same law at play. The more you resist being pulled, the more others lose balance trying to pull harder. They don't realize that the harder they try, the more control they hand over. You become the center, and they become the orbit. Emotional stillness is like holding a mirror in front of people. It reflects their own restlessness back to them. If they are anxious, they start to notice it. If they are angry, they feel it more intensely. Because when you don't react, their emotions have nowhere to land. They bounce back at full force, and they're forced to face themselves. That is why your calmness feels like power. It doesn't come from dominance or coldness. It comes from your ability to stay grounded while others exhaust themselves trying to shake you. When someone tries to provoke you and fails, they begin to unravel. They question why their usual tactics don't work. They wonder if you see through them. They start performing harder, chasing a reaction that will never come. And with every attempt, they reveal more of their insecurity. Their confidence cracks. Their tone shifts. They start justifying, explaining, apologizing, or defending. What was once an attack turns into exposure. You don't win by fighting back. You win by watching them destroy their own composure. People who rely on emotional control over others cannot stand being powerless. When you don't give them what they want, they lose direction. They start talking too much, saying things they didn't plan to say, showing emotions they meant to hide. They get caught in their own performance. It's not because you outsmarted them, it's because you refused to join their game. You stayed still and they started drowning in motion. This is why restraint always wins in the long run. The world expects reaction. When you don't give it, you shift the balance instantly. The one who can remain calm while being provoked becomes untouchable. The one who can't handle silence becomes exposed. They lose themselves trying to move you, and in that moment their mask falls. You didn't have to argue or explain, you just had to stand still long enough for their chaos to reveal its own weakness. Stillness is not weakness. It is the highest form of control. It looks peaceful on the surface, but beneath it is discipline, awareness, and power. Stillness is the art of control disguised as calm, and it confuses emotional players because it breaks their favorite tool, reaction. People who thrive on emotional chaos need your movement to feel in control. They study your tone, your face, your breathing, your small signs of tension. They feed on the shift in your energy. But when you stay still, when you give them nothing, they lose their weapon. They can't read you, and what can't be read cannot be manipulated. The world is full of emotional players. Some use charm, some use guilt, some use anger, and some use pity. But all of them use emotion as leverage. They want to move you first because the one who moves first loses the power. If they can make you defend yourself, you're already under their frame. If they can make you argue, you're already trapped in their tempo. Stillness breaks that rhythm. It rewrites the rules. They expect noise and receive silence. They expect tension and see calm. And that gap between what they expected and what they got drives them into confusion. When you remain still, you're not ignoring the person. You're forcing them to face themselves. They start feeling their own emotions echoing back because there is no reaction to absorb them. Their anger has nowhere to land. Their manipulation has nowhere to take root. Slowly, they start to unravel. They fidget, repeat themselves, raise their voice, or try to explain. They expose their lack of control while you remain unmoved. That is psychological warfare. You've turned their weapon against them without ever striking back. Stillness doesn't mean silence only. It is also in the way you move, the way you breathe, the way you carry yourself when pressure rises. The slower your reaction, the faster others reveal their impatience. The calmer your tone, the more their insecurity starts to speak for them. The less emotion you show, the more emotion they lose. Stillness changes the power balance instantly because it flips the emotional script. You become the observer. They become the performer. In every conflict, someone sets the tone. The emotional player tries to make you feel urgency, guilt, fear, or anger. They want your pulse to rise, your breathing to quicken, your voice to stumble. But when you stay still, when your breathing stays slow, your voice remains level, and your eyes stay steady, you win before the conversation even ends. Stillness is command. It tells the other person that their chaos doesn't reach you. The greatest strength you can develop is not loud confidence but calm certainty, the kind that doesn't flinch when provoked, the kind that doesn't rush to explain or justify. When others lose themselves trying to move you, and you remain grounded, the game ends. Stillness wins because it exposes every hidden weakness around it. You don't fight emotion with emotion. You disarm it with composure. That is the quiet power that makes people fear to test you twice. You don't win power struggles by fighting harder. You win them by changing the rhythm. When someone brings aggression, you don't meet it with equal force. You absorb it and redirect it. You turn their chaos into your command. Someone raises their voice, you lower yours. Someone rushes to prove their point. You slow your breathing and let silence stretch. In that moment, the balance shifts. Their energy rises, but yours stays grounded, and grounded energy always wins. Because control isn't about who speaks louder, it's about who sets the pace. The one who decides the rhythm decides the outcome. Most people think dominance comes from force, from being intimidating, from speaking over others. But real authority doesn't need to shout. It moves like water, soft yet unbreakable. When you stay composed while others lose control, you become the reference point for stability. People instinctively look toward you because your calm feels like safety. They may not understand it, but they can feel that your restraint means confidence. Every time you stay slow while others speed up, you make them look emotional and yourself look powerful. Reframing energy means you take whatever is thrown at you and shape it to your advantage. If someone tries to argue, you don't argue back. You let their energy fade out. You nod, you pause, you speak with calm precision. The contrast makes their aggression look like desperation. If someone challenges you in front of others, don't defend, don't react, just observe. Let their tone expose them. The room will always side with the one who stays balanced. Because when people feel tension, they follow the calmest person in the room. Calmness is authority in disguise. You have to learn how to be the emotional thermostat, not the thermometer. The thermometer reacts to temperature, the thermostat sets it. Most people enter a room and adapt to the energy already there. The powerful enter and decide how that room will feel. It is not about arrogance, it is about leadership. When you control your energy, you automatically control the environment. You show others what rhythm to follow, and soon they begin to match your tone without realizing it. Restraint doesn't mean weakness, it means direction. You are choosing not to waste energy where it earns no power. Every pause, every controlled breath, every quiet answer builds your dominance silently. You are telling the world through your presence, I am not easily moved. The ones who rush, explain, and overreact always appear smaller, even if they are louder. Because the one who can't regulate themselves can't lead anyone else. When you master this, life feels slower. You walk into any setting, and the tempo adjusts to you. People talk differently, react differently, even breathe differently around you. They sense that your calm isn't passivity, it's authority. That's when silence becomes your loudest weapon. Because silence doesn't just end noise, it defines it. And in every power dynamic, rhythm decides hierarchy, and silence always wins the rhythm war. Mastering energy control is not something that happens overnight. It is a discipline built one moment at a time. You learn to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, to see instead of rush. Every situation becomes training. When someone challenges you, you practice not taking the bait. When someone tries to provoke you, you practice staying centered. It is not about pretending to be calm, it is about conditioning your mind to remain calm by default. The more you repeat this, the more it becomes automatic. What once required effort turns into instinct. And that instinct, that quiet steadiness, is what separates emotional amateurs from those who move with real power. At first it feels unnatural to hold back. Your emotions will want to jump out. You will want to explain, to correct, to defend. But each time you choose silence, each time you wait an extra second before responding, you strengthen your control. That small pause rewires your mind. It tells your nervous system that you are safe, that you are in charge. With repetition, this becomes your new baseline. You stop getting dragged into other people's chaos because you have trained your body to stay anchored no matter what storm hits. This practice turns reactions into rituals. You no longer react from impulse, you respond from intention. When someone interrupts you, you smile slightly, let them finish, then speak with calm certainty. When someone criticizes you, you don't rush to justify. You simply nod, process, and choose if the comment deserves energy. Over time, people start noticing. They begin to lower their tone when talking to you. They slow down their words. They measure what they say. You have flipped the equation. They are no longer setting the rhythm. You are. Discipline in emotional control doesn't mean being detached from life. It means being in full command of yourself. You start to see emotions as tools, not masters. You feel anger rise, but you decide how to use it. You feel anxiety, but you don't let it lead the way. You feel offended, but you choose composure. This quiet awareness builds a kind of inner elegance, one that draws respect without demand. People sense that you are not moved by every shift in energy. They sense that their words no longer control your state, and that makes them follow your calm without even realizing it. Soon this control becomes a lifestyle. You walk slower, you listen longer, you speak with intention. You stop explaining your pauses because the silence itself says enough. You realize that every delayed response, every deep breath, every calm look is a move of authority. What began as self-discipline turns into influence. The world adjusts to your rhythm, not the other way around. You've reversed the entire social equation, and it didn't happen by force, but by repetition. Because mastery is not in the moment you stay calm once, it's in becoming the kind of person who never has to try. There comes a point when your calm is no longer something you practice. It becomes who you are. You don't have to remind yourself to stay centered because it happens naturally. You've trained yourself to such a degree that stillness follows you like an atmosphere. People feel it when you enter a room. They slow down without knowing why. Their tone softens. Their posture adjusts. That is the aura of commanded reality. You no longer match other people's energy. You make them match yours. You no longer negotiate for respect. You dictate it through presence alone. Your calmness has turned into quiet command, and your silence has become gravity. This is the moment where power transcends performance. You no longer need to look strong, act confident, or prove control. The need to display disappears because you have become what you used to chase. Control is no longer an act. It is identity. When people talk to you, they sense that nothing can pull you off balance. They feel that your pace, your tone, your energy are completely self-governed. And that sense of sovereignty changes everything. People don't challenge what they can't read. They don't provoke what they can't shake. They simply adapt. You start to notice how easily influence moves in your favor. The louder ones quiet down. The restless ones slow their speech. The insecure ones seek your validation, not because you asked for it, but because your stillness creates emotional order. You've become the reference point everyone unconsciously adjusts to. That's why the most powerful person in any group is rarely the one talking the most, but the one whose silence others react to. When your silence carries weight, your presence speaks louder than words ever could. Commanded reality is not about arrogance or domination. It's about inner certainty. It's the deep knowledge that you are unmovable. The outer world can shake, but your inner world remains clear. From that clarity, authority flows effortlessly. You stop chasing outcomes and start shaping them. You stop proving your worth and start embodying it. You stop trying to control people and start controlling the atmosphere. Every gesture, every pause, every look begins to carry intention. This level of power cannot be faked because it's built through discipline, patience, and repetition. It's built through years of refusing to be pulled into emotional chaos, through holding your composure when others lost theirs, through saying less and meaning more. Eventually, the world starts to respond to you differently. You notice doors opening with less resistance, conversations bending to your rhythm. Even silence feels alive around you. That's not luck. That's gravity. When you no longer need to chase control, you become control. You no longer seek dominance, you radiate it. People sense your presence before you speak because it feels steady, safe, and certain. That's what real authority is. Not fear, not force. Just stillness so complete that it bends the room around it. You've stopped reacting to life and now life reacts to you. Maybe this video helped you see yourself or someone you know in a different way. Feel free to let us know via a like or in the comments. And if you want more wisdom and guidance in becoming a better version of yourself, subscribe now. This is the moment to start becoming the person you really want to be.